She said there is no one like him. She posted it publicly
On X,
where millions of people could see it, where prosecutors building a federal murder-for-hire case against her husband could screenshot it in 30 seconds, where every blog, every podcast, every hip-hop channel could run it as content for the next 48 hours. I miss my man. There is no one like him. That is India Royale, March 2025. Lil Durk sitting in a federal detention center in Los Angeles with a potential life sentence over his head. And his wife is on the biggest social media platform on the planet telling the world exactly how she feels. Now here is the thing. That post was not the mistake. The mistake is not one moment. The mistake is a pattern. A series of public moves, a viral party clip, a court hearing she was not at, a sewing class video that said more than she realized, a family statement that prosecutors may have already read 3 times, that paint a picture the defense never wanted painted. In a federal case that goes to trial on August 20th, 2026, where Lil Durk faces potential life in prison, where every phone call from the detention center is recorded, where every public statement from every person close to him becomes part of the backdrop the jury will carry into that deliberation room, India Royale's public moves matter more than most people watching from the outside have fully understood. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why. Every documented moment, every specific instance where a public action created a problem that did not have to exist. Every angle that prosecutors, defense attorneys, and people who study federal cases are looking at right now. Let's get into all of it. April 2025. An account called Live by Tez drops a clip online. India Royale is at a party. She is sitting down, and her hand is resting on the leg of a man sitting next to her. The caption that goes with the clip reads, Lil Durk's BM India spotted with hand on dude leg at party. 3 words. BM, Durk.
Party.
And the internet went into complete freefall. Now here is where it gets complicated. Because the truth of that moment is simple. India Royale went on Snapchat within hours and shut the entire narrative down. She identified the man. His name is Ant. He is her longtime best friend. Not a romantic situation. Not a new man. A best friend who has been in her life for years. She had no problem posting a follow-up video of the 2 of them together to prove it. And socially, she was right. She addressed it fast. She addressed it clearly. She did not let the story breathe for more than a news cycle. But here's the part that nobody was talking about when they were debating the clip and taking sides and running their hot takes. That moment, India Royale at a party, in public, surrounded by cameras, in a context where any innocent interaction can become viral content within minutes, is exactly the kind of moment that the people closest to a federal defendant probably should not be creating. Not because she did anything wrong. She did not. And is her best friend. And she said so clearly, and the story backed her up. But because in a federal case the perception problem is just as dangerous as the actual problem. And a clip of your wife at a party with her hand on a man's leg is a perception problem, whether the explanation is clean or not. Because the explanation requires energy to spread. The clip spreads on its own. That viral moment in April 2025 created a media narrative. Durk's wife moving on while he is locked up. That took on a life of its own through the summer and fall of 2025 and into early 2026. And every time that narrative got revived, it pulled attention away from the legal story and onto the personal one. And in a federal case where your husband's defense is trying to control the narrative, every time the public story shifts to the relationship drama is a time the defense is not controlling anything. Before we go any further, you need to understand exactly who India Royale is and why her public presence matters so much to the shape of this federal case. India Cox Banks was born March 9th, 1995 in Chicago, Illinois. She grew up on the South Side. She went to Robert Lindblom Math and Science Academy. She built her public profile through makeup tutorials and lifestyle content on YouTube starting around 2017, the same year she and Durk went public with their relationship. By the time Durk was arrested in October 2024, India Royale was not just his girlfriend. She was his wife. They got married in 2024. She is the mother of his daughter Willow. She had been co-signed by Drake in one of his biggest records. Her cosmetics brand India Royale Beauty had real market presence. She was a recognizable public figure with her own platform, her own audience, and her own public narrative that was entirely intertwined with Durk's. That intertwining is what makes her public moves so consequential right now. In federal cases, the immediate family of a defendant occupies a very specific and very sensitive position. They are not co-defendants. They are not under indictment. They are free people living their lives. But they are also the people whose phone calls with the defendant are monitored,
Whose public statements get read.
whose social media activity gets documented by people who are building a case and watching everything. India Royale has approximately 3 million followers on Instagram alone. Every post she makes is public. Every story she shares is archived. Every emotional statement she puts into the world becomes part of a public record that prosecutors, journalists, defense attorneys, and potential jurors can access freely. That is the reality she has been living since October 24th, 2024, when Durk was arrested near Miami International Airport trying to board a private plane to Italy. The moment those handcuffs went on, everything India Royale does in public became relevant to a federal murder-for-hire case. And here is what makes her situation genuinely difficult. She is not just a spectator to this. She is a wife, a mother, a woman who has been with this man through federal prison before, through the lean years, through everything. The genuine love and loyalty are real and documented. They are not for show. Every birthday message from prison, every emotional post, every court appearance shows someone who is actually going through something. But going through something and managing it strategically for a federal case are two completely different skill sets. And the gap between those two things is where every public mistake lives. February 23rd, 2026. Federal Courthouse in Los Angeles, Central District of California. Judge Michael W. Fitzgerald presides over one of the most significant pretrial hearings in Lil Durk's case. Co-defendants are arguing for severance. The trial timeline is being set. This is not a routine appearance. This is a consequential legal proceeding that reporters from Complex, Rolling Stone, and Billboard are covering live. India Royale is not there. Now, legally, that means nothing. Absolutely nothing. She has no legal obligation to attend court hearings. Her presence or absence does not affect the proceedings in any procedural sense. The judge does not take attendance on the defense's support section. But here is what happened immediately after that hearing concluded. A post started circulating on X. It read, "When it gets dark, the world turns against you." They're saying Lil Durk is starting to feel the weight of it all. His girl India Royale seems serious about moving on and choosing a different path, even after everything he did for her. At today's court hearing, only 10 people showed up to support him, and she wasn't one of them. That post went viral. Immediately. Thousands of reposts. Dozens of blogs picked it up. Comment sections exploded with opinions about India's loyalty, about whether she was done, about what Durk must be feeling in that cell. And India Royale had to come out publicly, again, to address another narrative she did not create but now had to spend energy killing. She went on X and fired directly at Myron Gaines, who had amplified the post. Her response was direct. "Shut up. Stop with the false narrative. Y'all taking it too far now." She was right. The narrative was false. The post was a manipulative piece of content designed specifically to drive engagement by weaponizing the uncertainty around their relationship. But here is what that moment actually cost. It cost India Royale another public flare-up, another round of articles, another news cycle about her relationship status instead of about the legal fight. Another set of screenshots and reposts and comment sections that, whether she likes it or not, are part of the digital record of this case. And it cost Durk's defense team something they cannot buy back. Control of the public narrative at a moment when the narrative should have been entirely focused on the legal victory his team had just secured. Judge Fitzgerald's ruling on the severance motion, the trial date confirmation, the defense's stated readiness to go to trial. That was the story. That should have been the only story. And instead, for a significant portion of the coverage day, the story was India Royale and whether she was done with Durk. Every time the relationship drama becomes the story, the legal story loses oxygen. April 29th, 2025. India Royale and the Banks family released a public statement about Lil Durk's case. Durk himself posted it as a video on Instagram. The core of that statement was this: the recent developments in Durk's legal case have brought a harsh truth to light. The government presented false evidence to a grand jury to indict him. That isn't justice. That's a violation of the very system that's supposed to protect all of us. The statement specifically targeted the prosecution's use of Durk's lyrics, particularly from his song with Babyface Ray, Wonderful Wayne, and Jackie Boy, as evidence at trial. It called it criminalizing rap. It framed the whole prosecution as a systemic attack on artistic expression. Now here is why that statement matters, and why it cuts in two completely different directions simultaneously. On one level, it is strategically correct. Drew Finling and Brian Steele had already filed motions establishing that Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy was recorded before the August 2022 gas station shooting happened. They had the producer's sworn declaration. They had the timeline proof. The government was forced to remove those specific lyrics from their superseding indictment. That is a documented pretrial defense victory. So the family speaking publicly about lyrics being used as false evidence, that lands on a foundation of real legal work. This is not just a public relations play. There is actual legal substance underneath it. But here is where it gets complicated. And this is the part most people completely missed. When the family, including India Royale, goes public with language like the government presented false evidence to a grand jury, they are making a very specific legal claim in a very public forum. That claim is not settled. It has not been adjudicated. The judge has not ruled that the evidence was false. What the defense has established is that certain specific lyrics were miscontextualized, and those lyrics were removed from the indictment. That is a meaningful distinction from the government presenting false evidence to a grand jury. Making that broader public claim in a family statement on Instagram, distributed to millions of followers, potentially opens doors that the defense might prefer stayed closed, because it invites the prosecution to publicly defend their use of evidence. It invites media scrutiny of the specific claims. It turns a pretrial legal argument into a public debate. And public debates are unpredictable. Defense attorneys in federal cases almost universally want to control information. They want everything significant to happen inside the courtroom, where they can manage the context. When the client's family makes public statements about the government's evidence, that control erodes. The statement goes out. Prosecutors read it. Journalists analyze it. The narrative around the case shifts. And here is the deeper issue. India Royale is Durk's wife. Their communications are monitored on prison phone lines. If federal investigators have any reason to believe that public statements from the family are coordinated with what is being discussed on those monitored calls, that is information they can use to understand the defense's strategy before August 20th. That is not an accusation. That is a documented reality of how federal cases work. Phone calls from detention centers are recorded. Period. That has been established in this very case. The daughter's prank call that went viral was a monitored prison phone call. India Royale's birthday call from Durk, monitored. Every conversation they have had on a detention center line since October 2024, monitored and stored. The family statement was well-intentioned. The love behind it was real. The legal substance it pointed toward was legitimate. But in a federal case, public statements from family members carry risk that does not exist in normal life. Here is the moment that most people completely slept on. The moment that in some ways says more about the reality of this situation than any viral clip or public statement. Late 2025. India Royale posts a video about starting a sewing class. A beginner's sewing class. She captions it, "I know I'm super late with this, but I'm just about to start my beginner's sewing class." On its face, a woman trying a new hobby. Nothing dramatic. Nothing controversial. Just someone expanding their skills. But what she said inside that video is what matters. She explained why she was picking up new hobbies. She said she felt like her life had become repetitive, that she only felt excitement when traveling, going out to eat, or spending time with her children. She said she planned to try new things to discover what she truly enjoys. Nobody in the hip-hop media paused on that video long enough to hear what she was actually saying. She was saying that a significant portion of what gave her life its texture and its excitement was gone. That the person who provided that energy, that surprise, that fullness, was not there. She was not talking about Durk explicitly. She did not have to. The context was already established by every post that came before it. The "I miss my man" posts, the courthouse visits, the loyalty statements, the viral party clip defenses, the family statement. All of it building to a woman sitting in a room saying her life feels repetitive now, and she is trying to figure out who she is when the thing that defined so much of her daily existence is absent. That is not a public relations problem. That is a human being going through something genuinely hard. And the human reality is important and worth acknowledging. But the public nature of how she shared it, the TikTok video, the caption, the comment section that followed, added another layer to a portrait that was already being painted in real time across every platform that covers hip-hop. The portrait being painted is of a woman who is isolated, whose life has contracted significantly, who is keeping herself busy to fill a void. And that portrait, however true it might be emotionally, is a portrait that has real meaning in the context of how juries process what they know about a defendant's life. Juries are instructed to decide based only on evidence presented in the courtroom. But juries are human beings who have been following this case across social media for months before they ever sit in that box. They know who India Royale is. They have seen the posts. They carry that context in with them whether they are supposed to or not. And the portrait of a wife at home picking up new hobbies because her life feels repetitive without her husband is not the portrait that helps a defense arguing their client should come home. Let us be completely direct about what federal investigators can and do access when they are building a case against someone in pretrial federal detention. Every phone call made from the Metropolitan Detention Center in Los Angeles, where Durk was held, recorded. Every video call, recorded. Every email sent through the prison's electronic communication system, stored. These are not secrets. Inmates are told this before every single call. The warning is played automatically. There is no privacy on a federal prison line.
None.
This case has already demonstrated exactly how that works. When Bella Banks posted her jail call prank video, the clip showed Durk on a prison phone line addressing a situation in real time. The recording was there. The documentation was there. The content was available. That is how these systems work. India Royale speaks to Durk on those lines. Whatever they discuss, the prosecution can access. And when a family member then makes a public statement, the question federal investigators will ask is whether that public statement reflects what was discussed privately first. That is not paranoia. That is how federal prosecutions are built. Everything connected to the defendant is potentially relevant. Everything. Now here is the second layer of what federal investigators have access to. Social media is public. Instagram posts, TikTok videos, X posts, Snapchat stories that get screenshotted before they disappear. Every single piece of public content India Royale has posted since October 2024 is part of an openly accessible record that costs exactly $0 to collect. A federal prosecutor building a case does not need to subpoena India Royale's Instagram. It is already public. They can screenshot every post at any time. They can build a timeline of her public emotional state, her public statements about the case, her public behavior at events, her public responses to media coverage. All of it available. All of it potentially usable to understand the defendant's state of mind, his relationship with key people in his life, and the broader narrative the defense is trying to construct. None of this means India Royale has done anything wrong legally. She has not. She is a free person with every right to post whatever she chooses on social media. She is not on trial. She is not a co-defendant. She has committed no crime by expressing how she feels about her husband in a federal case. But here is what the specific combination of her public moves creates. A running documentary of this case that was never scripted, never filtered through defense counsel, never reviewed for what it reveals about the defense's position, and never coordinated with the strategy being built by Drew Finling and Brian Steele for August 20th. That unscripted documentary is available to every person who will be involved in this trial, including the 12 people who will eventually decide Lil Durk's fate. Here is exactly where the situation stands as of April 2026, and the 3 specific things the culture needs to watch closely between now and trial day. First, India Royale's social media activity in the months leading up to August 20th. Every post, every story, every emotional statement, every public defense of her loyalty, every response to a rumor, Each one either contributes to the controlled narrative Finling and Steele are trying to maintain or adds noise that the defense did not ask for. The defense cannot control what she posts. But the question is whether the conversations on those monitored phone lines have shifted toward managing the public footprint more carefully as trial approaches. Second, the relationship rumor cycle. The combination of the party clip, the court hearing absence, the clickbait accounts now circulating new claims about India moving on, all of it creates a cycle that will keep spinning until August 20th and beyond. Each time that cycle spins, it pulls media attention and public discourse away from the legal story, away from Brian Steele's defense strategy, away from the documented prosecution witness inconsistencies, away from the pretrial defense victories that matter. Every relationship rumor news cycle is a news cycle the defense loses. Third, any additional family statements about the case. The April 2025 statement was significant. If the family releases additional public statements as August 20th approaches, particularly any statements that speak to what the government has or has not proven, what evidence is legitimate or illegitimate, what the defense expects to happen at trial, those statements go into the same public record that everything else has gone into. And they carry the same risks. Here is the reality that everyone watching this case from the outside needs to sit with. Lil Durk's defense team is one of the most formidable combinations in hip-hop legal history. Drew Finling, who has represented Gucci Mane, Cardi B, and Donald Trump. Brian Steele, who walked Young Thug out of the most complex RICO trial in Georgia history after 22 months of courtroom warfare. Two attorneys who were ready to go to trial 2 weeks before the January 20th date that got pushed. Two attorneys who filed a statement saying the case was continued over their objection. That team is exceptional. Their preparation is documented. Their track record is real. But here's the thing about federal cases. They are won and lost on everything. Not just what the attorneys do inside that courtroom. Everything that surrounds the case. Everything that touches it. Everything that is publicly visible about the defendant's world for the 18 months leading up to trial. India Royale is not the reason this case is hard. The case was always going to be hard. The government has been building it since October 2024 with ankle monitor data and cell phone records and surveillance footage and witnesses and at least one prison phone call already in the record. But India Royale's public moves, the party clip, the missing court hearing, the family statement, the sewing class video, the emotional ex-posts, each one added something to the public record of this case that the defense did not control and cannot take back. That is what the title of this video is actually about. Not a single catastrophic revelation. Not a dramatic moment where she handed prosecutors a smoking gun. But a pattern of public behavior in one of the most scrutinized federal cases in hip-hop history, each individual piece explainable, each individual piece defensible, that added up to something the defense team probably wishes had gone differently. She loves her husband. That has never been in question. The whole world can see it. The loyalty is real. But love and strategy are not the same thing. And in a federal case that starts on August 20th, 2026 with a man's freedom on the line, the distance between those two things is where the most consequential mistakes live. Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Do you think India Royale's public moves have actually created a problem for Durk's defense, or is this all manageable noise that Steele and Finling can work around? And with August 20th approaching, do you think the people closest to Durk are now more careful about what they put into the public record? Subscribe right now and hit the notification bell. Every development in this case as it moves toward August 20th, full breakdown the same night it happens. When jury selection starts, this channel will be covering every single day from beginning to verdict. Because everything matters in a federal case. Everything. Thanks for watching. If you had a good time, keep the adventure alive by clicking on one of the suggested videos on your screen right now for more amazing content.